VBS. I am so excited that all of you are here with us tonight. I know that all of us wish we were sitting in this circle together, but we also know that during this time, during this pandemic, that we can't. But I am just very grateful that we can share VBS with you in this manner. The story I'm going to tell you today was something that kept popping into my brain when we were talking about VBS. We've talked about the Good Samaritan before, but it seemed especially important right now because everything that we're doing, and we may not agree with it all, there's the masks, there's the social distancing, there's washing hands, there's things that are closed, things that we can't do, but it still comes down to loving one another. And if you can find that in this story, I think it'll help you in the days to come. We're gonna switch. We're gonna run down to UCC so that I can tell the story from my godly playroom. I wanna tell the story in the desert box, and that desert box does not travel easy. So, give me just a minute, and we'll be right back with you, and we will begin to tell the story. Friends, here we are in my godly playroom. I'm glad that you're here. I wanted you all to notice the Holy Family on our focal shelf. The Holy Family is there to help us remember how Jesus' story began. This is the desert. The desert can be a dangerous place. Not all of our story takes place in the desert today. Actually, the story will talk about a trip from Jerusalem down to Jericho. And that road was a rocky road with lots of sand. Once, there was someone who did such amazing things and said such wonderful things that people followed him. They listened to him. They wanted to know more. One time, a person asked him, "What is the most important thing in life?" And that special someone answered, "You already know." So he thought about that for a minute. And finally he said, "You're right. I do know. The most important thing is for us to love God and love others as if they are our neighbors." But then he thought, who are my neighbors? And so he asked. And he answered by telling this parable. There was a traveler on the way from Jerusalem down to Jericho. When all of a sudden, two robbers came from behind the rocks where they were hiding. And they beat the traveler. They took everything he had, including his clothes. And then they left him on the side of the road, half dead. On that road, later, there was a high priest, also traveling from Jerusalem down to Jericho. And when he came upon the man who had been beaten and robbed and left on the side of the road, the high priest crossed to the other side and continued his journey toward Jericho. Later, there was a man who worked in the temple. He helped the priests, and he especially helped with the music. He was called a Levite. And when the Levite came to the man who had been beaten and robbed and left on the side of the road, he too crossed, went to the other side, and went on his way. Eventually, there was a traveler who was not from Jerusalem. He was from Samaria. And this man from Samaria was traveling to Jericho as well. Now, the people of Jerusalem did not like the people from Samaria. And the people from Samaria did not like the people from Jerusalem. And yet, when this man from Samaria came to the man who had been beaten and robbed and left by the side of the road, he stopped. This Samaritan put medicine on his wounds. He gave him his coat. And before long, he put him on his donkey and took him to an inn where he could rest. The Samaritan even stayed and spent the night with him. And in the morning, he left money with the innkeeper so that this man could stay and heal. Now, I wonder who is the neighbor in this story? We have the two robbers. We have the high priest, the Levite. And here we have the man from Samaria. I wonder, who was the good neighbor? I wonder what part of this story you like best. And I wonder what is the most important part of this story. I wonder if there's any part of this story that we could leave out and still have everything we need to tell this story. And I always wonder what part of this story is about you. If you were in this story, where would you be? And I hope you'll spend some time with your family and friends wondering. And I pray that you will hear God speaking to you to love one another. Amen. Thanks for listening, my friends. I hope that you enjoy the rest of your summer and back to school, whatever that may be. Try and remember along the way to love one another. Oh, and by the way, one more thing before I let you go. And I know that you'll be able to help remember this. I think next year, when we're all back together for VBS, there should be 2 nights with the dunk tank. Because I don't think Pastor Sean gets a free pass just because it's a pandemic. I think he owes you one for this year and one for next year. And now we have Pastor Josh down at UCC, and we can invite him to share in the dunk tank party. Love you all. Bye-bye.